SABMiller is the world's second biggest brewer by volume and has a market cap of 618 billion rand. Headquartered in London, it has more than 200 beer brands in over 75 countries across 6 continents. The group is also one of the world's largest bottlers of Coca-Cola products. It trades on a price-to-earnings ratio of 28 and a dividend yield of 1.9%, and is one of the best-loved stocks on the South African market.
Yeah, that's true. And
a little bit more enthusiasm than that.
That's absolutely adored, and I think that's for good reason. Now you're talking about the big boys, the real global brewer space. You know, AB InBev, Carlsberg, Heineken. So I mean, this company has really held its own against the best in the business, the best in the world.
Well, the share price is certainly reflecting heady levels, Paul Theron.
Yeah, 615 billion rands worth of market cap. What a success story. I mean, we know its origins here in South Africa. It consolidated our local beer market, totally dominant here. It had so much money, but in the apartheid era, it couldn't export that capital, so it started buying industrial companies. They bought Edgar's, they bought OK Bazaars, they bought a whole lot of shoe companies and other concerns. When apartheid ended, they were able to get rid of that and start going global. They went to London, and since then, it's been a spectacularly successful story of brand acquisitions, focusing on Eastern Europe, going to the United States, which was controversial. They bought Miller, off of Altria. They then went and did a spectacularly successful deal in South America from the Santo Domingo family.
Can I ask a question everybody's dying to know? Have you ever bought into SABMiller?
We've owned them. I remember clients buying them at around 50 Rand a share, and here we are northwards of 370. But we've always been a little bit scared of them because they've always looked expensive, and we've been concerned about the syntax issue. But I must say,
you've been repeatedly wrong. Let's just put it out there on the table.
And I must say, I'm getting more constructive on them because I sense that the opportunity in Asia in particular is something the market doesn't fully anticipate.
It would have been a little better if you'd been more constructive of them at around 50 Rand, not at the heady levels right now. Daniel, at least tell me that you've made some money off SABMiller.
Yeah, we've done nicely from it. At certain stages, we have looked at it and thought that it was expensive. I mean, it does look expensive at certain times. I think often what people are pricing in is all the blue sky down the line, which at some point seems hard to see, but eventually does come through as they move into more emerging markets, as they stratify the market into more premium brands and lift up that margin. They've always been an excellent operator.
When you say you're becoming more constructive on it, are you starting to dip your toe in the water? Going that far at this stage?
We'll have to see where this conversation goes tonight, because remember, trade of the day, hot stocks, we've got to pick one and go long it. But I mean, it's interesting because when I say they look expensive, they currently sit at around a PE historic of about 30. Forward earnings, I don't know, it's about sort of 15 or 20, depending on the optimism of your forecasts. We were critical of the Miller deal. We were critical of the deal to buy Foster's and the deal to buy Grolsch. 3 big, very expensive transactions, quite significantly dilutive. But they wanted to get those premium brands so that they can go to countries like, Colombia and Peru and South Africa and Zambia and so on, and get people to start consuming these brands by preference to the sort of more run-of-the-mill stuff that was coming out the brewery. China, we keep coming back to China. We know it's a great story. We know there's been a leadership transition there. That's good. They own like 50% of CR, China Resources, Snow. So Snow is like the largest beer brand in the world. The problem is they don't make any money out of that thing yet.
Daniel, you can't be buying SABMiller at current levels. Given your caution, or are you? You look at me as though I've gone crazy. Are you buying it currently?
So what I'd say is this. I'd say, like Paul said, it's on about a 16 forward. It's not out of line with the global operators. I think it's actually trading similar to AB InBev at the moment. If you look at the market currently where it is, 15, 16 forward multiple is not too bad for a company of this quality. I'm not saying that it's extremely cheap and there's going to be huge price rewards in the next 2 or 3 weeks, but I'm saying as a long-term portfolio staple, especially in this environment with the local situation and with the rand where you can get offshore exposure, different currency exposure, I think it's a good core holding to have at this point.
Paul, what are the risks to the downside?
Well, they've still got a little bit of work to do. They still own Tsogo here, which is quite a significant value holding. I sense they should sell that because the sort of gaming and gambling and hotel sort of sector doesn't really belong with a global beverage company. They've got some other bits and pieces in there. They own quite a big slug of Distel, which we're going to talk about in a minute. That's hardtack. So they've got, I suppose, some opportunity to tidy up the portfolio a little bit. The other thing that is notable about them is that they really are a South African company. Even though the headquarters are in London, they have very few operations in Europe, apart from Eastern Europe, and they have persisted with sending South African managers all over the world. So I don't know if that's a strength or a weakness, but Alan Clark, the new CEO, is a South African. He was general manager of the Old Road Brewery. He was picked because he was a real dyed-in-the-wool SABMiller guy. So I don't know whether that's a risk or an opportunity for them going forward. It's just something to note.
Daniel, hot or not on SABMiller?
So at this stage, I'd say it's hot.
Paul, hot or not on SABMiller?
Well, I like the brand story and I like China, so I'm going hot on this one as well.
The drama starts building.